There are definitely certain ways to build Vox boxes. You can go from just spacing a room and filling it up with a nitrogen canister. You technically don't need to be an Atmos tech, but being an Atmos tech will make this a little bit easier because they just have the right tools for the job. Having an RCD will also make this significantly easier, but technically even a Glacier can do it. And I'm going to show like an in-between being a Glacier and having the correct tools. You could also just hijack one of these fire alarms or air alarms, sorry, but anyone with an auto lathe can just print out the electronics for it, so you might as well just get it legally because you're probably trying to build this legally, so just do it in a way that doesn't completely screw over other people. First, we need to pick a spot that is separate from the main distro and wastenet. We could technically build it right here, but it's probably better to put it somewhere that's now not going to block a main hallway. So theoretically, you could build a small little box room right here. Air is going to be pumped in, which is the blue pipe that is distro. And we need to vent out everything that isn't nitrogen, which we need to connect to the red pipes, which is waste. So really, you just kind of crowbar your way across the pipes where you need to connect them, and you need a crowbar where the pipes are directly because we need to, well, take the pipes apart and modify them so we're not completely screwing up the floor. I also forgot to even mention the tools you'll need for this. You need a wire cutter, screwdriver, air alarm electronics are optional. Steel and glass is always helpful, RCD as well. Then for the tools you need a wrench, a crowbar, wire cutters if you don't have Atmos access, and a screwdriver, as well as if you're not just hijacking an air alarm. So now we need to, let's turn our T-ray back on, we need to unanchor these pipes. Let me just make a little bit of room here so you can see better. Unanchor these pipes, get them out of the way, and then we need to make a vent over here. You do have an option here. I guess there's not much of a reason to not do this. You could actually put a gas filter in here as well and filter in only nitrogen, but it adds a little bit of complexity, but I might as well just show it anyway. And then finally, we need to make sure that the original distro network isn't messed up. So before it was just a T-shape, but we need a plus. Just make sure the blue pipes will connect with blue pipes, and then nobody, an Atmos tech especially, won't want to kill you. And for the waste pipe, we can just use a T-pipe to reconnect it, and then just 2 straight pipes will be just fine here. And then we need a scrubber. And once we place all this down, every single one of these pieces of construction is just steel. So you can just kind of stand in the center and just spam click to build all of it like so. It's honestly really simple to make like scuffed at home Atmos setups. And just like that, we are done with the floor. We can put the tiles back. We actually want to filter out oxygen. So the arrow pointing away is what's getting filtered out. And since in distro there should only be oxygen and nitrogen, this is how we properly filter this. You could set this up in a way where you actually are filtering the nitrogen, but this lets you do it in such a small room that it could really be built anywhere, which is kind of the point of a Vox box, is that they could be put wherever the hell you want them to. And now that we have done that, the air vent is connected to the filter, and the scrubber is set up to waste. Now we need a network configurator. I forgot to mention that you do need this tool in the beginning. I'm doing a great job at explaining this. And we're going to want to build an air alarm. Yeah, we could just hijack this one, but air alarms are actually really cheap, so just build one. It's only 2 steel, and you have to put it on a wall, but it can be basically anywhere. To start, you just need to put in 2 steel. You can always shift-click these things to figure out what to do next. You need LV cables. Then you need the board itself, the electronics. And then you need to screwdriver it. We're good to go. However, we don't have real access to it, so we actually need to hack it with a screwdriver and wire cutters. And we need to snip the account wire, which managed to get that on the first try, and then you just screwdriver it back up and you're good to go. Now you take your network configurator, click the scrubber, click the vent, click on the air alarm, and click add. This will add those devices to the configurator. And we need to now build a boxed in room before we start filtering out any gas. You could just use something like Windows, but you probably want to do something a little bit more tanky in a real round because things tend to get broken in real rounds. But it can be pretty damn tiny. It does not have to be very precise. It could be something as small as this. And this costs so little glass that hopefully people aren't going to mess with you, but they will. I would recommend building this out of something stronger. And then if you have an RCD, this can save you a shit ton of time. You could just make actual airlocks from here And this, because the doors are honestly some of the most expensive things in crafting. And now technically this is a airlocked controlled room, and we can now separate the gases. So on the air alarm, what you need to do is turn off auto mode at the bottom. You go to scrubbers, you go to turn on wide net to make it filter better, and you want it to filter out everything but nitrogen. Now if we go outside and grab our gas analyzer real quick, we sit here and examine the air, we'll see that everything's being sucked out except oxygen. And at this point, you have successfully done it. That means once it is a nitrogen-rich environment, you can take your mask off and breathe just fine. And now, the only people who can come in here without mask on are slimes and other Vox. So, this is a pretty bare bone but professional setup for a Vox box. It's using the correct devices in the smallest configuration as possible. You probably are going to want to make an actual airlock, which you could do this pretty simply. Let me put my mask back on. You don't want to just leave the door like this, because then you're going to have your air get pulled out. So you could just come up here, put another airlock away from it. Like, this is super imprecise, but building it like this will actually make this an airlock, and it takes up very little room, not even taking up, only taking up about a 3x3 space. So now you can walk in here, close the door behind you, open this up, and this will create a even larger nitrogen pocket. Take my mask off, we are breathing just fine. Oxygen still getting filtered out, and yeah, that's really it. You can definitely make this more professional, but this gets the job done. I think this should be easy enough for anyone to follow. Thank you for watching.